Well, hello everybody. This is Uncle Jimmy with Jimmy's Train Station and Travel Adventures. Today it's a gloomy day in Gettysburg, so I thought I would do a review on a local museum here in town. Now I'm standing in front of the Gettysburg Heritage Center Museum. Now this is the former Gettysburg Wax Museum. If you guys have ever been to Gettysburg and remember, it's no longer a wax museum no more. Now it's a museum dedicated to the civilians of Gettysburg. So I ask, if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so by hitting the subscribe button, and feel free to leave comments of future things you'd like to see. Hit the notification bell to let you know when there's more videos updated. So we're gonna go check this museum out, and I hope you enjoy this blog. So follow me. Okay folks, we are now entering the museum, so let's have a look around. Here we have actual pieces of the James Geddes Tavern. Some things that were found in the foundation and stuff. It was constructed in the late 1700s and fell victim to a fire in 1880. Prior to the construction of the garage, this stuff was found. So this museum is dedicated to the civilians that lived here in Gettysburg at the time of the battle. Now James Geddes, the town was named after the town of Gettysburg, and this gives you an idea what it looked like during the battle. Just a smaller town back then. Over here we have a display of the carriage industry. Used to be an industry here in Gettysburg that made carriages. And this is dedicated to a local company, Company K, the 1st Pennsylvania Reserves, that actually fought here in Gettysburg. And they were from Gettysburg. This is some things that were found: a bayonet, a devil's den. There's a cartridge box, an original cap box, a belt buckle. Some of the buttons that was worn by the soldiers, canteens. And this is the Civil War mini ball, they call it, that went into the musket. It was a .58 caliber. There's a gun stock with an actual bullet lodged into it. Some letters and pictures of locals that lived here in town. And they do have signs here that are in 3D. They give you a pair of 3D glasses to look at the pictures. Over here we have actual 12-pound and a 6-pound cannonball from the Battle of Gettysburg, from Pickett's charge. And this Hotchkiss shell was found in Barlow's Knoll. And this was found, the shell, on the Eisenhower farm, which was the home of President Eisenhower. Artillery sword. And there's a worm that connected to a pole, which would be ran down the cannon during the progress of loading the cannon. Here's a piece of witness tree that they have that the kids can actually crawl through, that was here during the Battle of Gettysburg. The museum's really nice, and like I said, it's dedicated to the civilians that were here during the battle. Here is an actual tree, piece of tree that was here, and this was a sycamore tree. It's estimated that over 800 or 8 million bullets were fired into Gettysburg during the 3 days of fighting. Many of these projectiles are still buried in the fields and lodged in trees around Gettysburg. You can see a bullet right there, lodged in the tree. It's pretty amazing. Now here is an actual tree, witness tree, that was here. This right here marks the Battle of Gettysburg. And as you can see, it was cut down in 2005. Started out growing in 1825. So right in this location is the tree that was here during the battle. They also have interactive films that you can sit down and watch. And it's in 3D too.
The Civil War's greatest battle was fought at Gettysburg because the roads led the army super.
So it's very interesting. They have film exhibits that tells about the battle and the civilians that were here during that time. Now we're not going to do everything because I promised the museum that we would not film the whole museum, so that you can come here and see things yourself. But right here we have is what's called the cellar experience. Now we're not going to go in this today. I'll leave that for you to see, but it's a really neat exhibit. You go in and it's an experience that gives you an idea what it was like to hide in the cellars during the battle. It's pretty neat. You see soldiers running by the window and hear the sounds of battle outside, so it lets you experience what it was like during the battle when you was hiding out in the basement. Now this right here represents John Burns, the hero of Gettysburg. Now this guy, on July 1st, 1863, 69-year-old John L. Burns left the safety of his home on Chambersburg Street, obtained a musket, and joined in the fighting west of town, volunteering his services to the 150th Pennsylvania and the 7th Wisconsin. He was wounded and left on the field for dead. On the morning of July 2nd, he managed to crawl back to the edge of town, was eventually transported to his home where his wounds were treated. Following the battle, his story was related by reporters, and the exploits gained national attention. Matthew Brady, the famous photographer, filmed or photographed Mr. Burns while he was here, and also said that when President Lincoln came to do the dedication of the National Cemetery in the Gettysburg Address, that he also visited Mr. Burns and thanked him for his service. This is a wax figure of John Burns.
The brigade is, in my opinion, the standard fighting unit of the Civil War.
Here, what represents a captain's tent, an officer's tent, what it would look like.
Brigades are typically commanded
they have actually have clothes here that you can put on and get a photo op.
Sometimes, if that's not available, a colonel will. Sometimes
so
even
this is a very interesting museum. Has a lot of exhibits.
Brigade will consist of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even 7 regiments sometimes. But you typically have
a lot of things to see. It's very interesting if you spend an hour, at least an hour here to read everything and get all the information. It's really good. Now this shows what it was like during a surgery of amputation. They didn't have anesthetic back then. They usually just used ether if they had it, but most of the time they just had you bite down on a stick while they sawed your leg off. very horrific way to have a surgery done. And they didn't know a lot about sanitation, and they used the same saw on each soldier one after another. And most of the soldiers in the Civil War did not die from their wounds or the battle. They died from infection caused by things like this. Over here we have an exhibit of the famous Confederate prisoners that were captured along Seminary Ridge, which is up by the cupola. And these are wax figures representing the original photograph along the fence rail. Over here we have the aftermath. This is a representation of the Trossel farm, the famous farm with the cannonball hole at the top, over by where General Sickles got wounded. Now if you go back and watch one of my other videos on the story of General Sickles, you will see that barn and the cannonball hole. So this basically just shows you another aftermath of the battle, and it's also in 3D. This shows the dead horses and the very many bodies that were laying around after the battle. Now the Battle of Gettysburg was July 1st through the 3rd of 1863, and there was over 51,000 casualties. That's wounded, killed, or missing. So it was the biggest battle fought on the Western Hemisphere also. Here's some more exhibits. Another piece of wood with bullets in it. Some fired bullets. And some medical instruments used in amputation. Here's an actual bullet lodged in a piece of human bone. So yes, this battle was, and the war was very terrible. There's no doubt about that. But if you get a chance to visit here, I recommend you doing so. And like I said, I'm not showing the whole museum today, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what the museum is about and do a review on it. I give this museum a thumbs up. Also, at the end of the museum, there is another room you can go in. It's called the Battle Room. And there's wax figures of Civil War soldiers in there, and you also get to hear the Gettysburg Address. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you'd enjoyed this little review on the motel, or the museum here in Gettysburg. Again, it's called the Heritage Museum. It's located on Baltimore Street, going out the Emmitsburg Road in Gettysburg. So if you ever get a chance, stop and see it. It's a really nice museum, and you'll learn a lot about what it was like to be a civilian during the time and Battle of Gettysburg. So again, I am Uncle Jimmy, Jimmy's Train Station and Travel Adventures. And if you enjoy these blogs, please leave comments or a thumbs up. Let me know how you like these videos. Also, feel free to subscribe. It's absolutely free. It supports me and my channel. Hit the like button. That will also hit the notification button. That will let you know when there's a new video uploaded. And feel free to leave comments of things you would like to see in the future, and I will try to film some of those. So till then, enjoy life. Go out there, travel, and have your own travel adventures. Till then, this is Uncle Jimmy. See you next time.